Welcome to Doctor on Call with your host, Doc Griffin. The doctor will be with you momentarily. Our guest this evening is gem and mineral specialist Leona Nunyaz and her husband, Kyle. Advisory: to control blood pressure, watch this show regularly. Do not discontinue viewing unless directed by your physician. Rinse mouth thoroughly after each show. Doc Griffin, paging Doc Griffin, you're needed in the OR. Stat.
And thank you very much, Nurse Wicked. And of course, tonight is a fun occasion because I will say that these are people that I consider friends as well, and they have a serious condition. They have well, I don't know how to put this any other way, but an addiction, a very severe addiction. And that addiction has to do with rocks and gems and minerals. Oh my. So tonight we're going to get into a discussion, not only just about collecting rocks, but talking about rocks and minerals and gems and what those influences are, and basically what makes a rock hound a rock hound. So without any further introduction, let's go ahead and welcome our guests, Leona and Kyle Nunyaz. How are y'all doing this evening?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Always good to hear. And of course, to the audience, you will hear the sound of kidlings running back and forth. As responsible parents, they're not allowed to lock them down in the basement because, well, that's where all the rock power tools are. So.
Oh, and do they cost us a lot in screaming baby giveaways?
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess let's start from the start, because I'm just curious where both of your fascinations came with collecting rocks and gems and minerals.
Don't even know. I liked rocks as a kid, but when my sister decided she was going to open a rock store, I thought she was crazy and said, "Who's going to buy rocks?" About a year and a ago ago, and well, all of a sudden we were their best customers within the first month. So.
Yeah, I started working there, and I didn't really know anything about rocks, and apparently neither did anyone else that worked there. So I just started learning and just soaking it all in, and eventually started selling rocks to support my own habit.
Okay. Well, and what was your gateway rock? What was the first one that got you hooked into collecting?
Well, we can show you the first one that was given to us, which kind of represents the two of us. But then I can show you the one that got me hooked. And it was actually a great
this rock was at the rock store, and it came broken. And we ended up getting it for free, and it was interesting. I don't know. It's just the first one.
And that one's a quartz, a half a quartz geode, right?
Yep. This is the one that got me locked, though. As soon as I found my first grape agate, which was days later, they got me hooked. Then it was all about collecting.
Yep.
Well, now what side of the fascination do you have? Because I know there are a lot of people who do collecting, and it's pretty evenly split down the middle between just the metaphysical and the physical attraction to it. So which side do you fall on with that?
Honestly, both of us are more of the physical, just the actual collecting the minerals, how nature grows them. We try to pay attention to the metaphysical, so we know what we're talking about with people and stuff, because I know a lot of people are into that. Like you said, it falls down the middle, but more for me, the beauty of nature.
Yeah, and honestly, it is no crime whatsoever to appreciate it, because there are I think from one of my books, there are over 1,030 something different types of rock formations that can be made. You know, anything from, quartz to stromatolite to jasper, and just continuing on and on and on down the line. Hematoid. There's so many different variations.
Well, and on that note, I have a whole piece that I devoted just towards different formations of pyrite, and that's enough to fill a case with information. So,
well,
I like the science of it, and every mineral is, you know, chemicals. And we use a lot of those chemicals in our everyday lives and probably don't even realize it.
Yeah, it's amazing that given enough time, you can find beauty with anything. I know you guys had on your last show that one where it had the brick that had copper infused into it. I'd never seen anything like that.
all right, we're glitching. Which one?
It glitched out. I didn't hear that. I'm gonna go shut this door.
Yeah, shut the door for the kids because time to lock them in the closet.
Well, that happens as long as you have enough closet space. And what I was saying is that you had showed a piece on one of your previous shows that was basically work between man and nature, where you had the brick that was infused with copper from a foundry.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff too.
Yeah, Michigan is the copper state, I'm guessing. We got a lot of copper mines here. Everything from
bricks, right? But
smelt bricks to the slag glass in the lake, from those foundries, different colors, and
yeah, we both appreciate the science of it, and just how things can come together and make that. Because, well, it's amazing to me. It's nature does a better job, or science does a better job about making a cube than I can grinding it out. So, I've got some pyrite cubes that are completely 1 inch.
I was going to say you guys are starting to robot out a little bit. It could be a connectivity thing, so let's just write it out. Now, as far as it goes, I mean, I've got like a pyrite sphere sitting in front of me. Is there any type of mineral or rock or gem that you've been introduced to where it just basically took you off your feet and said, you know, how the hell did this happen, especially naturally?
Quite a few of them, actually.
Yeah.
Quite a few of them.
Let me grab them.
Yeah, we can start grabbing some. God, there's so many different formations of different things. Metal crystals are what intrigue me the most. But yeah, quartz like that. How the heck does that happen in nature?
A fading quartz, where it forms between two.
I got
children are so obnoxious. It forms between two in a space or in a crack, and it moves and it breaks the crystal and it regrows and it just gets these crazy patterns.
Yeah, because one thing about that people in the audience might not know, but quartz is the most abundant crystal that's around, but it also takes on features of wherever it actually grows. And it literally grows kind of like grass. It grows everywhere along the globe.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people have a fascination with not just quartz but also amethyst. And amethyst is actually quartz. It just colors itself same way with what they call citrine. It just depends on where it grows up as to what you're able to see, the colors that represent themselves. And bear with me here for just one moment.
Oh, I know Leona loves her green quartz.
Yeah, we got every kind of color of quartz over there.
And making sure I'm just checking in. Yeah, just checking in with the chat. You guys having any issues with being able to hear them? And of course, we're on a 10-second delay, so that may take just a moment.
No, we weren't watching chat. We were getting a little bit of the roboty voice to you, Doc, but.
Oh, I see now the chat. Crack.
Hey, now it's the right side around.
So now one of the big reasons why I did want to make sure and talk to you, I've kind of been involved with the rock business, but I'm more intrigued and fascinated, not necessarily by the people who, went to school, got their geology degree, and, pretty much that's all they're really set to do. This is a personal choice, something that you guys wanted to get into. You had mentioned
some are fun people good to know when you're looking for rocks, but
Yeah.
But no, neither one of us has ever thought we would be collecting rocks.
Well, and I'm guessing that you guys have actually had more than one person make you crack the books. Wait a minute, somebody grew a tail. I just saw that pass by.
Now that's our little jingle cat. She was abandoned by the people across the street just before we moved back to Muskegon, so she just kind of ended up coming with us.
We ended up with 2 dang cats out of that house.
Yeah.
2 abandoned cats out of 1 house in 2 years. And Leona won't keep up feeding them.
And so, now I know there are a lot of exclusive types of formations that are around Michigan. You had mentioned copper. Do you find yourself looking farther away from the state to find some more exotic stuff, or right now, what actually draws you in? Like when it comes into your shop, do you go, "Oh, never seen that before. This is cool. This is what I want to." I'm gonna get more of this.
But yeah, it's more of interesting formations that get me.
Yeah.
And if it's blue or green, Leona's sold.
I like the copper minerals. Oh, I like the copper minerals that are formed with copper, and there's a lot of those, and they're usually blue or green or some variation of that color.
Yeah, and like we were talking about with the quartz, it all depends on where it comes from and what is growing up around it, because you can end up with stuff like green quartz and black quartz and smoky quartz and strawberry quartz. It's just amazing how literally it depends on exactly where it's growing and in what conditions, because natural citrine, which is kind of like a golden yellow, most of the time they'll fake the citrine just by doing heat treatment on it.
Yeah. Which, if Leona can switch to the phone somehow, it does better video. But she's got pretty much every color. Neither one of us was really into quartz because it's so abundant at first, and now somehow we've got multiple shelves of nothing but quartz specimens of different colors.
But I do have some
formations and
the chlorite included quartz, which is green.
Yeah,
I have the blue quartz.
It's a fun one.
I have what do I got? The hematite included quartz. I have quartz. Well, just about every kind.
Well, and honestly, we can definitely take a tour a little bit later on. When did you decide? Hey, gems and minerals is something that I want to get into. What was the moment of commitment for you?
Pretty sure the first place we got from Gem Head Shop.
Probably.
Which they didn't last long, but the bug lasted in us.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm trying to think what my favorite is. Probably one of my malachite and azurites. I'd have to think. Might have been my azurite crystal, actually.
Mine was, like I said earlier, it was that little great agate. That was what set it in.
Or it could have been that piece of moldavite. I like the more rare minerals. A lot of mine are small specimens, but they're kind of rarish and valuable.
Well, and a lot of people are unaware that some of the biggest expos that happen in North America are actually gem and mineral shows. And there are two in particular. One's up in Colorado, but the big one is down in Tucson, Arizona. And they literally take the town over. There's over 3,000 vendors, over and 40 different locations. And they say they have somewhere around 750,000 to 1 million people that just show up for it. And that amazes me. So when a lot of people say, oh, well, rock collecting, that's when you're in the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts and then you grow up out of it.
I think we were both in our 30s when we just started.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean it's an amazing hobby.
Pick up rocks as a kid, but
well,
I like talking. I thought that was a whole interview.
Well, where I live, it was always fossils, because of course I grew up in Ohio, and there really wasn't much of anything around here. Maybe a little bit of pyrite, but most of it was fossils. So I got kind of burned out on it until I went to my first gem show, and I started running into things that I'd never seen before or never thought possible. My personal fascination, I collect spheres, and I've shown my balls on Twitter more than once. So most of the people who are watching know.
I've seen a ball.
But I love polychrome jasper. And jasper's like the second most abundant. I think it's a tie between jasper and onyx, I think.
Well, jasper is quartz. It's just microcrystalline quartz.
See, I did not know that.
So everything's quartz, just about.
I was going to say I've only read a few books, and most of the time I'm just looking at the pictures. So I know there's a.
Well, you read books. You should know more than us.
Well, I mostly looked at the pictures, and
that's what I do with all my books too.
Yeah, there's one mine. I think it's down in Mexico, where they found raw quartz growing underneath, and they spelunked into a cave and found it. And they have,
when you're talking,
yeah, they have spires that are over 30 feet.
Yep, and they show guys walking on them and stuff, and it wasn't flooded. Yeah, that's pretty dang impressive. But
it's some amazing stuff. So how do you turn people on to it?
I don't know. I saw a place in Laytonville where they actually sold the big quartz as benches and stuff, and nobody was really, nobody wants to spend that kind of money on a piece of rock. But
yeah,
fanatics like us, and you got to have the biggest and the best of the specimens you can find. And
sure, yeah, people spend thousands on rocks.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say, personally, the highest I've done is 400 on one rock, but we're just not that financially.
Oh no, I'm broke ass. So I really haven't spent more. I'd say probably the most I ever spent on a piece was probably maybe $50. And I think that dovetails into it, that it's a hobby where there's tiers to it, that you don't necessarily have to go out and, like, one of the things I saw at the Colorado Expo or the Tucson Expo was somebody had actually gone and made patio furniture out of agate slices.
Wow.
And you can't believe how many thousands of dollars that well, you can believe it because you've been around the business. But do you think that people outside of the business find that, or have the illusion that the pricing is going to be prohibitive to be able to become a collector?
Yeah, I think until they get into it, they think we're crazy.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what they're collecting, because there are some things that the prices are jacked up quite a bit, and that usually has to do with the metaphysical. They're charging, outrageous prices for a quartz point because people will pay it.
Selenite.
Or
People
selenite,
charge a ton for a little chunk of it, and really, I mean, selenite is essentially it's drywall, it's gypsum.
When you get to a specimen that has to be dug up, that has to be properly cleaned, and has a million tiny little crystals that are super fragile, that's going to be expensive to get a nice piece. But like quartz, one of the most abundant ones, they want to charge an outrageous price.
Well, that's because it's popular, though. Everybody loves quartz. It's it just sells. It does. So it's hard not to deal with because everybody loves quartz.
Well, and let me ask you this: as far as your customer base goes, what do you see as far as your demographic? Because I know you all basically kind of make the hobby collectible for people, so you don't go overboard with big, huge pieces, and that you stay within what I would consider to be affordable ranges of being able to purchase specimens. So what does your actual customer base look like?
Half of it is the metaphysical, which that's why we try to kind of keep in touch with that and keep an eye and try to have that knowledge of what we're doing in that fashion.
Well, when we started collecting, we didn't have a lot of money, and we were pretty much limited to
we started
what we
with
could.
one little space on the carpet with a piece of paper with some numbers.
With little tiny pieces for our own collection that we paid, a cheap price
for.
on. And we got ripped off a few times online. We get something from China that was probably not anything that we ordered. Mostly not. The $100 one was the best, because when the picture, they hold their hands out and it looked like it was just massive for $100.
Probably a 6-year-old girl holding the thing, though.
Yeah.
Well, I know for certain that there are people over in Asia, especially China and Hong Kong, that earn a very decent living by having the smallest hands in the world.
Yep.
Right.
I could see that for sure.
And nothing against the
It ain't gonna work for me. Damn it! Every time I show something, they think it's tiny.
Well, we learned through experience that.
But I'm only 6'3", so
you got to be careful ordering from China. They are the best counterfeit mineral producers I think I've ever seen. They do a lot of counterfeit quartz crystals.
We've had a lot of luck with Pakistan, though.
Pakistan, a lot of nice things from Pakistan.
Now, I've seen a lot of those issues come out of India as well, where they're.
I don't much with India.
I don't think we have any Indian sellers that we go through at the moment.
Well, that's complete. Yeah, well, you got to go with who you're comfortable with. There's only a few that I actually deal with that are over in China, and that's just because they've established the reputation once you get 2 or 3 orders down with them.
We'll always do the test order first.
Well, China has their own minerals, and they do have beautiful minerals in China. It's just getting
the right seller.
Rule of thumb, if it's too cheap, it's probably not real. If somebody's selling you a chunk of malachite for $2, they do make a fake malachite.
Oh yeah, I have a synthetic malachite sphere.
No, pretty easy to spot if you don't know what malachite looks like.
Now here's the funny thing: there's certain tests you can do to see if it's real or not. But all the tests from the synthetic malachite that they've created now passes all those tests. So it's basically you just have to look at it now.
Look at it and feel it. I know I do home care for a lady, and she had a malachite egg sent to her, and it looked like malachite, but I picked it up when I felt it. I don't know how to explain it. I just knew it wasn't malachite.
Yeah, and there are tons of different ways that you can actually figure out what is what. I mean, the easiest
Yeah,
they came up.
acid scratch tests and all that crap. But.
Yep. But as far as it goes, now you get raw product in. Does it actually, is it clean, or do you guys have to clean it? And if so, what are the different type of measures that you have to use in order to clean it? Because I'm sure I mean, you can't clean selenite with soap and water.
No, you don't want to get that wet. But
I've actually gotten selenite wet. Selenite is not, it doesn't dissolve instantly in water. And a lot of, because I've cut selenite wet with the wet saw. It doesn't, I've even polished it with water. But it does get soggy.
Well, so do you have to just set it out and let it dry? I mean, does it reformulate back to its sheen, or?
Well, there's a I don't remember who it was I was watching, and they were talking about the hippies out west were putting the chunks of selenite in the river, and the river would almost polish them because they'd just run over them, and then they'd pull them out and they'd dry and they'd be super shiny. So I don't do a lot with selenite wet though. Shane. I haven't tried like forming it and
we don't
polishing
do
it much.
or anything.
Yeah, and a lot of people who work around it, and I know this is kind of the other side of the internet, because a lot of sales happen on Facebook. A lot of live streams run through Facebook, and a lot of people might not be aware of essentially the type of commerce that goes on, because Facebook technically is a dying platform, but to the people who use it for commerce, it seems as strong as ever.
As strong as ever. Well, I'll tell you what, our brother-in-law had a shop, the Gemhead Rock Shop, and we are able to generate as much in sales in 3 hours as that shop did in the full week.
Wow. And I know we're just at the bottom of the hour, but I was wondering if you guys would be up to doing a little bit of tour of showing off what you actually have.
Yeah, half of it's still just going to be piles of boxes in the corners because we haven't unpacked yet. We've been here not maybe but a week, so we've been working on getting the rack shop together. But we can definitely give a tour.
Oh, terrific! And of course, since we are at the bottom of the hour, as fans know, I have severed ties with New Amsterdam vodka because just one fridge magnet doesn't keep the love going for me. So we're trying out something new today.
On this end,
yeah. We're trying out something new today, and it is Smirnoff's sour watermelon. We're mixing it up with Sprite, and we're just calling it the fizzy melon. So anybody out there who wants to try it out, certainly give it a shot. I will raise my glass to you right now. We'll take a quick pause and enjoy our adult consumables, whatever those may be. I don't know. That's kind of a chemical taste. That's probably why it was like $6.50 for a fifth. But also, if you would like any additional information, as always, down in our description, in our description down here, I have Leona and Kyle's links to their official site, their Facebook. That's where. Now, do you broadcast more from your Facebook profile or from the business profile?
I usually do it from my personal profile just because that's what I started on, and everyone knows me on my profile, even though I share the video to my pages. I have a page and a group.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
It works.
And of course, also down in there, a lot of people have asked, and just to go into short business, for myself. The GoFundMe's doing great. Our goal's 1,500. We're only 300 away from it in, I think it's like 12 days. So I appreciate everybody who's supporting. If there's anybody out there who wants to throw a couple ducats, please feel free to do so there. Otherwise, if you've got any type of ideas for people that you'd like me to interview, my Twitter's down there. And of course, I've got a Streamlabs and a Patreon. No big deal with that. Or stop by the TeePublic store. We actually do have Dr. On Call shirts now, which is funny. But most importantly, underneath all of that, I have my prescription for additional entertainment. If you're looking to find people that definitely need more exposure, this is my recommendation to you of YouTubers that I like, and not only like, but watch. So if you want to take a look for those, then certainly do so. Leona, do you guys
appreciate the exposure too? I just have to say thank you because
never
name out there too much.
Oh, no problem at all. I really do like the quality of the gems and the minerals that you guys have on display. And long story short, you're not bending people over. You're doing fair market price, and people are getting real nice specimens out of it.
Yeah, we definitely try to be fair.
And that's admirable. That really is. So
rather just keep it moving and see more cool specimens come through, because then we get to hang out with them for a minute and see the cool ones and keep them moving to where the home they deserve.
And do you guys have a set time that you normally do your live stream sales?
We used to do it every Sunday around 7, but that's been kind of not a good day recently. I mean, we're going to try to keep our regular Sunday sale, but now that we have the new room, we want to try to do 3 sales a week.
Oh, yeah, stuff's just been hectic with the moving and everything.
Yeah, the moving and the carrying on, and we do always try to keep affordable minerals for people, especially kids, and I usually give a lot of stuff away to kids. I make a lot of...
And I certainly did want to get into what happened in Texas. I think that's an amazing story that should be told.
Oh, yeah. When we first started, we did the a lady got a hold of me, and her son. She has 2 autistic sons, and they're older. They're adults, and they have a center there that they go to. She was trying to raise enough money, or actually trying herself to buy enough crystals to give everyone a crystal at their Christmas party. There's like 300 people. So we did actually, I think I'm going to do it again this year. I've been talking to her. We did like a benefit sale, and we ended up...
Well, if you want to call it that, we sold a lot of our stuff.
We sold a lot of our own stuff to raise money, yes. But we had a lot of people donate, and I think Rocky House...
I seem to remember being a part of that stream, trying to help out.
Well, we ended up, they all got palm stones, selenite palm stones, and then I sent also a bunch of amethyst, citrine, quartz clusters, and some other things. And a lot of people donated too. So
yeah, a lot of people helped out, and thank you guys for that.
Oh, by the way, the Occam's router in the chat just asks offhandedly, do you sell trilobite fossils?
I do. I have a whole bunch of them right now.
And I tell you what, now, of course, our chat knows we've got very loyal people that come in and out. They always know that at the top of the second hour that the Q&A starts. But yeah, I do want to go back to the Texas story, because I think you just kind of glossed over it, because that's something that's really important. Because honestly, how many people have made the connection to
we also have an autistic child, so
yeah.
Well, and was this something that you keyed in on with your own child about him having an affinity to rocks?
Yeah, he does love rocks, but what it really was the mom, the lady, she got a hold of me, and she wanted a wholesale price on
started a lot lower than what it
clusters.
ended up, but
and like the amethyst and citrine clusters.
well, a lot
and
less than we ended up going.
I gave her a price, and then I asked her why, and she told me why. So then I ended up even going down lower on the price, pretty much giving them to her at cost. And I don't think she even paid for them. I think I eventually just gave them to her.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it was covered, under everything. The same with the selenite palm stones. I didn't make any money at all.
So,
Well,
we sold off our inventory to do it, but so I guess yes, that was our nice deed for that year.
But did you find some type of importance of the fact that somewhere between the Earth Mother rocks and her autistic children, that there was some type of a connection that they tuned in, so to speak, not to be metaphysical, but
no, definitely
to help spur their fascination, their enthusiasm, their sense of wonder.
And I really don't even like the word autistic. I think gifted children, but kids that think a little different tend to be into the actual nature and science of life. It's in my experience. So
I try to encourage any kids or really anyone who's interested in rocks.
I think our neighbor kid has got.
Yeah, I give the neighbor kid dig kits.
Yeah, dig kits like on a daily basis. So
I make my own dig kits, and I use real fossils and real gemstones, and I sell them at an affordable price that even a kid can pay with their own allowance.
And
I mean, actually, this recently, was it last weekend or the weekend before? I did an art show, and I just got these megalodon teeth in, and I had one. I mean, it was probably about that big. It was a big one.
And really nice.
And I was gonna sell it for probably $250, $300, and this boy really wanted it. I mean, he came back to my booth 3 or 4 times, and at one point I thought he might have was gonna put it in his pocket. So, he finally came back at the end, and he really wanted it, and he had his dad there, and he had saved up $180 for Christmas, birthdays, and stuff. So I gave him a $300 tooth for $180 and a dig kit too. So.
Yeah, I like the dig kits. I think the dig kits are adorable.
The kids seem to love them. And there's nothing cooler than seeing kids get into it, because that's definitely fulfilling.
And it is expensive for, you want to buy your kids something that keeps them interested, and it's kind of hard to get cool stuff for an affordable price. I know we bought our son a dinosaur tooth. He really wanted one, and I found one, and it was like an ungodly amount of money for a tooth smaller than my pinky nail. But so I do the dig kits, and I don't charge too much. I still make money, of course, because I have to make money, but I sell a dig kit that has a trilobite in it, and the dig kit's $10. I sell the trilobites by themselves for $10. But the kit has,
bunch of other stuff
dinosaur
too.
bones, amber. What else did I put in there?
Remember the
I had I had an online friend whose daughter was getting into rocks and minerals because the mom was into it, and I just said, well, what are her colors, and I went ahead and just put a box together of just different stones. I mean, amethyst. I think the only thing that really had any true value, I sent her a necklace that was made of purple goldstone. And purple goldstone, of course, is man-made, but it's incredibly rare because you have to really screw up to turn a blue into a purple. Because of the firing process and everything. But she was just like, well, I looked up some of these things online and it was X amount of dollars, so let me send you that. And I was like, it's called the season of giving for a reason. And not only did it make me feel good being able to send that out, but also, it got a junior detective on the case,
Yep.
having their own rocks.
Better than paying any bill I can think of is seeing a kid get excited. So I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's beautiful stuff. And I know I have a great time when you're on your auctions, and you let Zoltar do some of the do some of the auctioning and selling off for you. I think that's adorable.
Oh God, he's good at it. I watched him sell a nickel for 25 cents or 15 cents.
He put his energy into a nickel and sold it for 15 cents.
So now, currently, right now, you're running most of it off of Facebook. Am I correct in thinking that you guys are going to have a brick and mortar, or are you more comfortable?
We right now have a 16 by 18 foot room that we have set up shelves in. Technically, we are zoned residential, so we have a pickup room, is what we can call it, I think. And
at some point, we'd like to do that. I'd like to have the space to have the equipment set up so I can teach classes. When I worked at the rock store, I'd teach rock tumbling classes and geometry making classes, stuff like that. And at some point, when we're thousandaires, maybe we can do that.
Well, and you also cut your own slabs too, which is kind of a rare thing around, because you'll find a lot of people who do lapidary, which is just basic jewelry making. But as far as making specimens, how did you come to that conclusion that that's something that you wanted to do?
I think we're just both interested in specimens more than.
I think we looked at
neither
the stuff
one of us is a big fan of polish, so.
Yeah, I like rough stone more, so we'd buy rough stone, and then I don't know how we ended up wanting to cut it up. I just like to cut open everything and see what it looks like inside.
Yeah,
I
see
guess
what
that's
it looks
probably
like
part
inside,
of it.
and when we polish it, but.
And then I make towers and different freeform shapes. And I have a collection I call the Half Wild, where I do polished part of it and part of it's rough.
That's my idea, by the way.
We'll let him have it. It's all he's got.
That's all he got. Well, no, I do knobs too.
Yeah. Kyle makes.
One of these days, knobs will start selling them. People will want little handle pulls that are made out of fluorite.
Now,
whatever. But.
Do you have an example of it?
Yeah,
I do. I'll go grab a few.
We sold most of them. I sold a lot of them. He just doesn't think they sell, because I don't give him any money.
Yeah, exactly. Because I never get the money.
Well, it is the old saying that the rooster rules the roost, but the hen rules the rooster.
Yeah, they're nice handles, and of course we have the ability to cut any rock and shine it up and make a handle out of it. So I have some that we made from stones I tumbled from Lake Superior.
Well, I'm just waiting until you get a sphere maker.
Yeah, that's expensive. Are you gonna do a fundraiser for me?
If you need help, I certainly will be there to lend a hand.
If I'm hoping if I get big enough, I can get a business loan. I probably will get one, but it's like $1,800 for a sphere maker.
What? Yes, is a piano.
It is.
And who do we have guesting?
Oh, we got a guest star here.
What guest star?
You. See? Your little head.
Leona, would you like to make the introduction?
This is Zoltar.
Hey, Zoltar, how you doing?
You're on a YouTube video right now. You've been wanting to make a YouTube video forever. Say hi to the audience.
Hi.
You want to talk about your favorite rock?
This is more like a Google post.
It's like a Google post. Well, it's YouTube. See, there you are. There's Mommy.
Hi. Hi. You're welcome, people. Hi.
So Zoltar, what's your favorite rock?
What? A pink halite like mineral. A halite mineralist.
Pink halite.
Pink halite and water halite.
Close to me.
Now halite's definitely something you can't put water on. Well, you can, but
you melt it.
Well, halite. We actually had a halite mishap when we moved in because it was so humid here. Halite's salt, and kind of like those salt lamps, and it absorbs moisture out of the air. So the pink halite started melting. The hanksite was melting.
No, we lost a bit.
We lost pretty much all of our halite.
Yeah, I've got a Himalayan salt sphere, and I did not know. Well, being in Ohio, the humidity is really bad in the place that I'm at. So I started to see it bleed, and I'm just like, uh oh, the kids have taken over.
No, yeah, we had quite a box of halite that it just kind of melted. I mean, it's still pink halite, but all of the points and the cool structure that made me attracted to it in the first place just kind of
Melted.
Yeah, melted off. So.
Yeah, and for people who don't know about halite, it's usually mined like once a year, and it basically you find it once a body of water, like a lake bed, or a creek, will recede and start drying up under the heat, and then those salt that was in the actual water crystallizes, and that's where you get like halite and hankasite from.
Yep. And yeah, it's at one time a year, and yeah, I didn't realize how sensitive it was to moisture in the air, but yeah, here in Michigan, we've been rocking 90% for a while, and that doesn't help nothing.
Yeah, now there's also some interesting rocks that you can find that are basically exclusive to Michigan. Can you talk about those?
Oh, you're talking like Petoskey's and Superior Agate? Well, Superior Agate, I guess, is Canada too, but
exactly. Do you guys have any examples of those around?
Oh, I'm sure we do.
Oh boy, somewhere.
All right, I'm gonna let her show her knob or two first.
Or
I'll show some knobs first while she goes and finds them. She's better at finding stuff. She's the one that hides it all.
He's not one to hide.
No, we do. Well, I guess I do. Different fluorite ones. Either like I'll just take polished palm stones, and you know, you gotta grind them a bit and fasten backs on them and stuff. Or the different ground ones that are faceted. We do a lot of Michigan stones. I don't have many in. These ones I'm surprised don't sell often, because these are my favorite. But like the amethyst geode cluster.
Bring it a little higher. We're not seeing it in the camera.
All right. Oh, and I don't know how to switch it over to where I can. Oh, she's got that 10-second delay on.
Yeah.
But
yeah, if you look in the Hangout, it'll show you on the real time.
All right, but yeah, like that. All right, in the Hangout, I'm gonna have to wait for her to figure out anything, because every time I touch the computer, I mess it up. I am not I can't figure out how to use Facebook on my phone yet, so there's been some years. All right, but I can't see real time to see where we're showing these. Then we do stuff like the different fossils and whatnot. Yeah.
There you go.
That doesn't
You're
help
down
me
there.
Oh, I'm down there. Oh, so. All right, then we're trilobites, right? Or then the emerites, yeah. But they're just little handle poles, about an inch and a half wide. I'm surprised they don't sell like hotcakes. They do like cut geodes in half and do them, and they make a nice handle pole. But
well, I think it's a great idea. It's just one of those things of trying to hunt down the market for it.
Yep, and yeah, we can do them in pretty much any kind of rock you can think of. We can make them and make them to specifications, squares or round or whatever, and it's. Oh, we showing some Michigan pudding stone.
That's a pudding stone from Michigan.
That's mined right out of a parking lot.
Right out of a parking lot. That's right.
Well,
now,
we go to a place with dinosaurs in the driveway and mine out what they put next to their pond, and they put some nice stones in there.
This type of conglomerate's unique, I think, to Michigan, and it's just all it is quartz with red jasper and stones in it, almost like cement, natural cement.
So it's a mix between the various forms of quartz and granite.
Lakers.
Jasper and quartz. They'll have other little things in there, sometimes fossils.
So would the matrix be granite?
I think the matrix is mostly quartz.
It's mostly quartz, and then has the red.
Well, usually there's greens and stuff in there too, which I'm not sure what are.
Make me chicken nuggets.
Make you chicken nuggets.
We'll make you chicken nuggets soon.
All right, so let me
I can go for some chicken nuggets.
I need dino nuggets. I need dino nuggets.
Oh, dino nuggets.
I don't know if you'll be able to even see these. These are pretty small, like superior agates.
I see on camera, Mom.
Oh, we're out of the big boys. They do kind of more like the lace agate thing. They're authentic to northern Michigan.
These are the ones I put in dig kits. I do a Michigan dig kit that has the different Michigan stones in it, so these ones are small for that reason.
And we're going to start.
Here's a.
Oh, I love these things. Septarians.
These are unique to Michigan. These are not unique because there's lots of septarians.
Stop.
You just broke my rock.
Oh no, broken rocks.
Not dry rock, my Faden quartz. Do you know how long it took me to find a Faden quartz? Anyways. So here is a Michigan septarian. We call them lightning stones. It pretty much just looks like a piece of poop.
But no,
the calcite goes through. Not in these, I don't think. Well, maybe.
No,
what it is it's a piece of a mud ball that dries up and cracks, and then the water level goes back up, and calcite fills in those cracks. So it.
Ah, okay. And did you want to switch over to your phone to take the tour?
Yeah, we can do that.
And I can fill in time here while we're doing that. Now, of course, if you're interested, they currently do. What's the Sunday show like 9 p.m. Eastern?
Usually about 7, around 7, sometimes earlier.
Well, we shoot for 7. It usually happens closer to 9.
Well, I guess
somewhere between there.
And of course, some of the things that we're going to see tonight will probably be available. And I'm sure we'll get the hands off. This is just my collection. If it isn't, I did want to make.
We're trying to trim our collection because it's so hard that we don't have that many cases or that much room to keep that much for us. So there's a lot of collection pieces on the shelves now.
Yeah. Here's one more before this is the Petoskey. If it's going to show, it's probably not going to show good. Oh, it looks terrible. All right.
And most of the Petoskys do glow, right?
Let me switch over. Which it might show up if I use my light down there. I don't know. All right, let me see if I can get this. It's not going to mess up the computer if I turn it over to here. I don't know. Find out.
Oh, the computer's still running.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Okay, so it's going on the computer and down here. So this place is a mess. But let's see if I can get it to focus on this Petoskey.
Well, at least Zoltar's got his own show going.
What's up, bud?
Good.
You showing off?
Yeah.
Can you guys see me?
Yeah, I'm going to feature you here.
Please keep YouTube video.
There you go.
Okay. I don't know if this is working. Is it working?
It is.
Okay. All right. So this is one of the mini tiny Petoskey stones. It's not polished, so And there are different variations of. This isn't even a very good example. The rest of the Petoskey's. I can't believe you broke my fading quartz. Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's only one note.
I know.
Now you just got 2 fake quartz instead of 1.
That's my favorite one. Here's another fading quartz that might have to go live in the case now. So I do have a few of them, and I try to buy things that I can sell for cheap.
People always love cheap.
Different types of spheres and.
What was the one next to the apatite?
This is an ocean jasper.
Okay. And it's sitting on selenite. We've been talking about that.
Yep, we got a big old massive hunk of it here.
65 pounds.
65-pound chunk. And we slice it or chop it just like wood to get the smaller pieces.
Eggs in here.
We have geodes and thunder eggs. And
now, going back to what we were talking about the metaphysical part of it, there are a lot of people who use selenite for what they call a charging plate. Can you explain a little bit about what a charging plate is?
Well, selenite is one of the stones you don't have to clean or cleanse, I guess you'd say. And it's one they use to get rid of negative energy. So yeah, we chop it into these, and people put their stones on it, and it takes away the negative energy out of the stones.
Yeah, and selenite's beautiful. I mean, raw or cut.
Yeah, it is really pretty. And there's
I'm not even into the metaphysical, and I started buying it right off the bat. We started buying stones just because it's interesting.
Well, here's some variations of selenite. This is a satin spar. This is a clear crystal of selenite because it will come.
What are those actually called? They're called something. I forget what they are.
These?
Yeah.
I think these are actually selenite, which the selenite crystal itself. Whereas this they call selenite, but it's really satin spar gypsum. And then you have desert rose gypsum.
Yeah, that stuff is beautiful.
Yeah, and here's a different kind of gypsum with sand inclusions in it. And I have a couple of those. Hourglass selenite. And then, of course, there's this one. Drywall gypsum. Yep.
Yeah, it's so funny how you can have something that is so beautiful, yet it's, it's literally just ground up for common, ordinary, basically construction work.
Yep. Well, here's another kind of gypsum. This gypsum is actually from Michigan. It's from the selenite or the gypsum mine in Grand Rapids. And it's just kind of an orangish gypsum. And I'm not sure what they mined that gypsum for.
I think drywall.
Probably, yeah. Well, it's also plaster of Paris. I got a box of that over there too. It's gypsum.
They just shut the mines down. They used to do tours for all the school kids, even all the way from Fruit Park and stuff. You'd come over to go to the gypsum mines and mine your own, but they just shut that down a couple years back.
Here's a really nice quartz. This is Arkansas quartz, super clear. Really pretty piece. And that's just some of the points. And
what? Yeah, I tell you what, I'll throw some questions in while we're walking around. Wicked Heart wants to know, do you travel and go on digs to find your stones, or do you buy them, or is it a mix?
I buy a lot of them. Some of the ones I've found we've cut up and made things out of and sold. The kids were too small for us to really go and do anything cool. In November, we're going to go to Georgia. There's a mine there. We're going to go dig for burl star rose quartz, which is really pretty. I don't have any of that anymore. I sold those spheres, but an aquamarine. This is an aquamarine piece of aquamarine.
Also later on, probably the beginning of next year, I'm going to have on some other friends that I really like. and one of them actually was one of the diggers on Prospectors.
Oh, nice.
So
Well, that's
yeah,
about
I watch all them shows.
I know you do.
yeah.
But-
So yeah, that's something about the actual, digging, 1,000 miles above sea level in Colorado that we'll discuss with them because are they called Coloradans?
Coloradians.
I had two sisters that lived there, but I really don't know what they consider themselves.
Boulderians? I don't know.
This is some of the kind of stuff that the metaphysical people buy, these little points. Also jewelry people buy these to make jewelry. And these are Tibetan citrine smoky quartz from Tibet, little tiny one.
Now, I've had this conversation with many people. Do you believe that that stones and minerals and crystals have their own type of frequency?
Yes.
Yes, just because the crystals do make a frequency. You can take if you've ever seen someone play crystal wine glasses, yeah. They can, but I don't know if they have it on their own or if it has to be. I mean, you have to rub the crystal. Yes, you have to induce it. You have to rub the crystal to get that frequency. Tourmaline is one where do I have any tourmaline? Yes, I do. Tourmaline is one that will produce an electric charge when heated to a certain temperature.
Awesome.
But
definitely it's storing energy.
Yeah.
The energy doesn't come from nowhere, so it's there. It just has to be used right.
Yeah, and we do use quartz crystals, superocular quartz for different things. I think even in TVs and stuff. Maybe not. I think you can.
Well, I know that I know using quartz used to be a thing with the old box TVs, the old tube TVs.
Yep, they had the.
So there's no denying that there is properties to them that.
Yeah, I don't know if it would, do it on its own. I think you have to incorporate it into other things. This is a nice piece of wavelite from Arkansas, Hot Springs, Arkansas, and it's just a cool looking, sparkly little.
Yeah, and that's and you're not seeing things, chat. That is green.
It is, and when you cut these little bitroidal things off, you get these neat little bullseye patterns. I don't know where I have one that has a real nice.
Yeah. I love them in their natural form, but then I started seeing what they look like.
Okay, honey.
Some of them, and it's just as neat to see.
Get over here and find. I know I have the one that has a really cool starburst on it somewhere. Maybe I sold it. I don't know. Yes, yeah, I do have the megalodontes. Some nice size ones. Not the biggest one. The biggest one's gone. A little sour about it. I did just. I know that made that kid's day, and he's probably the happiest little kid in the universe. But
yeah, and I found that being inside the rock community, that it's kind of weird because I'm drawing a very stilted parallel on this side of the internet. There are a lot of people who get together for common cause and like to help people out. But I mean, there's also a darker side to it. When I've gotten together with the rock community on the opposite side, I really don't see a lot of that. I don't see a lot of backbiting. I mean, I'm not going to say communal. But it is kind of an actual community because I don't know if you feel this way, but people who are outside of the community, do you think that you get slighted by the normies, that they just don't understand what's going on?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I guess a little bit. I think. Well, for example, I'll say my brother and sister-in-law who owned the rock store, they weren't really part of the rock community. And they didn't really understand
They bought their membership in the rock club in town.
Yeah,
They didn't show up to a single meeting.
And that might be why their business didn't really succeed very well, because there's a lot of give and take, and you know, you got to listen to people tell you where they found that special rock, and if you don't want to do that, you know.
Because you do actually have to be kind of a storyteller.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When you're presenting that, and I do find it fascinating because you guys do come upon some stuff that I don't normally see in regular streams. And I will say this, there are some people in the rock community who are kind of full of themselves because of the stuff that they can find.
Yeah.
And they want you to know how cool they are because they found it. And then they want to charge you a little bit more because they're as cool as it and they want to push it.
Yeah.
I honestly never have felt that way on your streams. That's why I've always loved to be supportive of when you guys go live.
Well, yeah, you've been with us since the beginning. I think you were there for one of our first shows, at least, when we were still on our living room floor with a piece of paper.
Oh, yeah.
Or the kitchen table or whatever.
It's grown a little since.
We've grown a little, yeah.
We can unpack all these boxes and finally get moved in.
This one right here is a nice Michigan piece, and it doesn't look like much, but this is actually preonite with copper, and you can see the copper in there.
Yeah, and this is grown through.
And quartz, there's a little bit of quartz on there. This is one that we would cut at some point, and it'll be really, really cool. Yeah, this is another piece of Michigan preonite. And there's some Michigan dogtooth calcite. These are big specimens that were in my collection. I started small, and then I wanted to have big ones of everything, and then I realized how heavy they are. So I decided to go back to having small things, and I can have more.
By the way, did you ever try to shine up that Smithsonite?
I didn't. It's still in my case. That's one of my. I just haven't wanted to do anything with it. I like the way it looks.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, and I have to agree with you on this. I love raw.
No.
I love seeing raw specimens, how they came out of the ground.
You ever seen a turkey tray full of quartz?
Both of us got into it, but looking at raw. This is.
I just bought all this quartz. It's a lot of quartz. Oh, there's
Keweenaw Peninsula copper.
Copper from
Copper, preonite, and quartz.
That's beautiful.
That's a Michigan specimen.
This is a piece of raw malachite from the Congo.
Shouldn't you be wearing gloves?
Yeah, whatever.
For those in the chat that don't know, there is a section of the rock community that red flags will automatically go off. They're like, "Oh no, malachite's poisonous. It's going to kill you."
Well, we cut it.
No,
so.
It's not really. I mean, you don't want to eat it or breathe it.
If it's not under a saw.
Well, yeah, breathing it's what'll kill you. It's a copper mineral. It's, we have malachite in Michigan too. There's far worse minerals for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. There's even asbestos is pretty if you find the right specimens of it.
Oh, yeah.
But you certainly don't want to cut it.
We have a few asbestos ones somewhere. I'm not sure where they're at. We still have a lot of stuff packed up. There's another piece of copper on the cell floor here. Michigan copper.
Yeah, that stuff is beautiful. I mean, what's it called? Lovely chaos.
Yep.
Or, I mean, okay, I'm a sphere fanatic. I love spheres. I have over 100 of them collected for many years, but I also do have a shelf of those things that are just amazing, raw coming up out of the ground. If it's anything that's outside of a sphere, my stuff is usually always, I like it raw.
Here's another Michigan septarian. This one was from, do you remember where this one was from?
Oh, well, I got it from the rock shop.
No, I mean the area, the location.
And it glows in the dark.
It does. Where's my light?
I think it was from that day.
I don't. My light doesn't usually like to show anything though. What, honey? Okay. Well, you have to wait just a little bit longer. I don't know if it's glowing a little bit.
Yeah, you can see the glow.
Yeah, that's a Michigan Septarian, and I got a lot of. Of course, none of these really glow, but I do carry a lot of different rough stone because like I said, I cut and polish, and I buy it rough by the big chunks and little chunks, and this is just a piece of preonite from Africa. But I usually sell, these pieces for a couple bucks, and people are like, "That cheap?" I was like, "Well, how much do you want to pay for it?"
Yeah, I think there's a lot of relevance to that as well, because it's a market where people can, and I know we talked about this a little bit, where people can beef it up, bump it with a story, and put to the metaphysical on it. Oh, I see some aragonite too.
Oh yeah, my aragonite.
We try to at least keep a knowledge of the metaphysical, but that's not where our pricing comes from. It comes from raw stone. I
pretty much, if I get a good deal, I give a good deal. As long as I'm making enough money to cover my costs, there's no reason to bump it up and be crazy.
Well, I won't mention who the dealer was, but they were in Colorado, and they were showing the prices that they were buying from the actual retailers. And this was at the end of the stream, everybody has to be paid.
Right.
And they were doing a 30% markup plus shipping.
It's a lot less than a lot of people I know.
Yeah.
And that just completely turned me off, because I know that if they work a deal with the dealer that's there, because usually dealers are very friendly. The more you buy, the better your break's going to be.
Yeah.
And I knew that these guys were legitimately putting 30% on a price that they weren't going to have to pay at the very end of the stream, when they talked to the guy saying, "Okay, we're buying all of this."
Yep. So, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so I kind of find that a bit shady, and plus, they're playing off of, well, I know all of this because
I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about too. Not saying any names. Oh yeah, trilobites. If anybody want to see them, I do have a whole boatload of those guys.
Yeah. Let me see. Occam, if you're still in the chat.
They're good size ones. I do have some bigger ones. I have probably, I think I bought 100 of them. So there's another box. I put any of the smaller ones or some that are not as pretty. I put those in dig kits for the kiddos.
We do have a question. Sisyphus actually asked two questions. How much do you guys hate Sheldon Cooper because he popularized the idea that geology wasn't a science?
Sheldon Cooper, who is that?
From Big Bang Theory.
Oh. I was gonna say, like, what is that? I don't think I've ever seen that show.
I have.
Big Bang Theory.
Decent show.
And of course, he does also ask, are these the people who sell you your balls? And yes, I have gotten spheres from them. I get my spheres from all over the place, to be honest with you. And I'm sad to say that most of the commerce for my spheres, because I can't really afford them, usually come from China and eBay. But
not Chibe.
But I'll say this though, as far as my actual raw specimens go, I stay with the dealers.
Yeah, look at these little pretties. Whoops, that one's gone. That one's half off. These are Tabasco geodes. They are really pretty. They are tiny, tiny little geodes.
They work awesome for.
And they usually have, the red color.
Those are the ones that people usually use as earrings.
Yep. And I have some uncut. I haven't been able to bring myself to cut them yet.
No, I think people like the little stuff just as much if it's workable for jewelry and doing wraps and all that stuff.
But before I got a wholesale license, I did buy a lot of my stuff on eBay too.
Well, I tell you what, let's talk about commerce a little bit here, because I wouldn't say that the rock and gem business is cutthroat, but I can literally give people a link to where there are shows running 24/7. And that looks like a slice from a stalactite.
It is, isn't that neat?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I love these. They're expensive little jobbers. This is probably one of my most expensive pieces at $24.
It's just amazing what nature comes up with all on their own.
Oh, I know, and this one too, Bumblebee Jasper.
Yeah, and that's what's it made with?
There's one mountain in Indonesia. Is it Indonesia? Where this jasper comes from, and it's something to do with the volcano, and some sort of something happens just right, and poof, here you go.
Because it's the yellow color comes, isn't it from cyanide?
That might be.
It's a poison. It actually the poison actually colors it.
Yeah, that might be what it is. I haven't really looked into it. I just happened to come across these at a nice price, and I sell mine for $15, and I see them on other places for like $25.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to find a Bumblebee Jasper sphere, and they start basically at a 30 millimeter diameter around $50.
Yeah,
so.
Well, it's kind of a rare stone. It really is, or they say anyway. But
so, getting back to talking about commerce on this. Now, I've never seen anybody do it. I don't know if there's a reason why it's not done, but is there? Do you know of anybody who's ever tried to do sales? I know Twitch forbids it, but do a sales stream on just like I'm doing here with YouTube.
I don't know, and I was actually thinking about trying it. I think I don't know why you couldn't.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, I was thinking with it because when I was co-hosting with Sisyphus, we were talking about, well, how does Streamlabs work and all this fun stuff, and Streamlabs essentially takes out about the same amount of money as PayPal does. So I didn't know. I was thinking that there must be some type of reason why people aren't using it. Why people aren't using this type of technology for commerce?
Maybe because YouTube has more people, more exposure. I'm not sure on YouTube. You would have to have a pretty established YouTube channel, I think, before you could sell stuff.
Well, but I mean, like anything else, it takes a buildup. I'll be honest with you. With the almost 4 months I've been doing the show.
Yeah.
I never expected to be over 300 subs, and that still amazes me to this day. And I have a wide variety of subjects. I'll bring in East-Lives, but the thing I love to do the most is streams like this, bringing in people who do interesting things. And I think exposing people to passions that have been hitherto unknown is essentially my job, because I want people to take a look at stuff and find beauty and find purpose and focus.
Yeah.
What was in the bowl that you have?
These are percomers, not herkimers, percomers from Pakistan. They have petroleum. I don't know if you can see them glowing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They have petroleum inclusions and carbon inclusions, and they're just like they're well, with the shape of the herkimer, it's the shape that gives it that herkimer, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're little double terminated.
It was the way that they built it up in New York in the herkimer mind.
Yeah, because Arkansas has some nice sports that's pretty much the same.
Well, wait a minute. How much was that one that you had? Sorry, chat. I'll be back with you in a minute.
I don't know. Gone. How much does it weigh? I do weight on that. So 3 grams at 30 cents a gram.
90 cents.
90 cents.
Well, I'll take that. Sorry, guys. I just did a little shopping. I apologize.
All right, put this in the doc's box.
But yeah, I'm a fan of glow in the dark stuff. You guys know that.
Let me make sure this one glows good for you. Oh yeah, it's got some glow.
But what's the fascination that motivates you and keeps you going forward?
You can't find two alike.
You can't find two alike, but really, I like making stuff. And actually, I've been getting a little bored lately because I haven't been able to make anything because my equipment's not set up. But I like to get the rough stone. Well, it's not set up all the way. Well, you just did that the other day, but
we're working at it.
But I like to make. I mean, so I don't have a lot of the stuff I made. That usually sells really fast, except these weird, odd-shaped ones that nobody wants for some reason.
Well, and in the chat, Wicked Heart is asking, do you make any jewelry to sell, or do people just buy the raw material from you and make their own?
I don't make jewelry. Jessica, who is my business partner, does, and she does beautiful beadwork. And I don't see anyone. I think it's still packed up because we did a show over the weekend. I think we've completely unpacked everything. But she does a lot of different kinds of. No, wait, there might be some in here. This isn't. This is just stuff that she threw together. But she does beaded stuff too. And once I get everything set up in the basement, I do soldering. I made these stained glass pendants.
Well, them were her learner ones.
Yeah, so these are my first ones. Hey, this is freaking awesome, all right? These were, and I made these like 6 years ago.
Yes.
I think it was right before I got pregnant, and then I couldn't work with the chemicals and stuff anymore because I was pregnant, and I just gave up after that because kids don't let you do anything. I want to start doing it with stone though, because I can solder. I can cut the stones thin, and I can solder them, and you can do whatever stained glass. Because Kyle does stained glass. That's one of his pieces there.
Now I want to start incorporating stone into it.
Yeah, that's an amazing piece.
Yeah, because you can here's a piece of agate that's just super thin. I could, do the edges of that and
do Tiffany lamps out of it. It'd be beautiful.
Yeah, one of the guys in our rock club makes this amazing lamps out of agate. I believe it's all from Michigan. I think it's all Michigan agate. Maybe not, but just kind beautiful.
Like the old school Tiffany.
Yep. Yeah, the Tiffany lamps.
Yeah, I mean that's from what I'm hearing, it's not just here, let's pick up some rocks. Ooh, they look cool. Let's put them in the case. It sounds like both of you are like, well, how can I work with these?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Here's a big old hunk of burning pyrite.
Oh, that's cool because it's specular pyrite with the cubes in it.
Yeah, that's a cool piece. That's that's $100 piece. So.
I kept a lot of pyrite. Like I said, I had a whole shelf devoted to nothing but different formations of pyrite and other metals. But
this is a man-made jobber here. This is silicone or silicon.
Oh, silicone.
Silicon from Germany.
Whatever they make computer chips.
They make computer chips out of it.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Silvery stuff.
We were starting to look into. We're thinking about working with a lady and trying to some of the shows sell some of her crystal grow kits because she does an
oh yeah, she has awesome crystal grow kits. She's a chemist. Yeah. She's got to be a chemist.
See, now in my office, I am looking at this is old school, back from the early 70s and late 60s. I have 3 kits right now. One's a Smithsonian Mega Science Lab. And then the other 2, they called them the space age crystals.
Yeah, they don't work very good.
Yeah,
they suck. They suck. I remember as a kid. That's why when I found them again, I just keep them rare.
So this lady's crystal growing
kit. He
kit.
does kits to where they work.
She
She
does
so we're hoping that
she does man-made or lab-made crystals, and she sells them at the rock shows. And I happened to come across her, and I saw these, and I was like, those are freaking cool. So I'm either want to figure out how to make these or get her to sell them to me cheap.
Yeah.
But she does the chemicals and everything. And she said it took her a while to perfect it, but she has some that she's, grew with these kits that are
Beautiful.
These ones are all sold to people.
Yeah, no, she makes some beautiful crystals.
Yeah, and they actually look like that.
And I've
They
never
grow
been a fan
just
of
like that.
man-made. It's always been kind of, it's man-made. That's not real. That's not nature. But if you can do it right and make something pretty, I guess you still have to appreciate
Well, you can grow crystals. You can take a piece of limestone. I grew aragonite on accident. I had a big fossil plate, and I soaked it in vinegar to try to clean it, so that the vinegar eats up all the calcium, and that turns into aragonite or calcite. So it was pretty cool little crystals that were in the pan after it evaporated.
Well, and to be honest with you, some of the prettiest spheres that I have are technically man-made, like the goldstone, like the amber beeswax. Yep.
Oh yeah.
The amber beeswax is just beautiful. You can see it right there. She was just showing it, but
when they glow,
they also glow in the dark too. That's man-made. Also, I don't know. Have you seen the Black Sea coral ones yet?
Yeah, I had 2 of them and I sold them already.
Yeah, those went fast. I mean, technically they're man-made, but they're not. They actually took coral and tuned it down into an actual sphere. And the coral itself, even though it's called Black Sea coral, it's actually golden and it shimmers. It has what's called a chatoyancy.
They glow a little bit too. Have you put a light on them?
I have not.
They have. It glows just enough you can see the coral veins, I guess. I don't know.
Starting to hear you.
I can hear me back in now.
Oh, you're right.
Yes,
I actually have. I have a whole shelf personally dedicated to anything that glows.
I don't know if you can see that. This is hackmanite. I don't know if it's gonna glow good.
Yeah, I still haven't picked up any hackmanite yet.
Nothing wants to show up in the camera.
This is my big hunk of hackmanite. And this one I was gonna donate to the juniors rock club, just because the kids love the things that glow. And here's some amber. Amber glows like crazy.
Oh yeah, I love amber.
But this is the kind of stuff I get to do because I can buy wholesale, and I can donate all this amber to the little kids rock club, and they can be like, "Oh, I got some amber." Because I can buy it from the town.
And just to state it plainly, this is your life now.
Yeah, for kind of.
Yeah, we're trying to transition it. I still work my other side of the house, cutting trees all day. I'll be cutting trees all day tomorrow, but we're trying to transition to where this will be
what we do. I do still have. I work a couple days a week doing home care. But yeah, I would rather do this 3 days a week and not have to work.
And
this is work. Don't get me wrong.
and you're finding, not to be detached or anything, but you're actually finding fulfillment in it.
Yeah,
it's a lot better than anything else I do. I like building. I like seeing what gets done, but I'd rather play with rocks.
Those little blue tourmaline crystals.
Those are nice.
These are some little watermelon tourmaline slices. They're very tiny.
Yeah, those actually would go pretty good if somebody's making a staff or any type of dangling jewelry.
Yeah.
For the tourmaline, yeah.
Tourmaline. A lot of them are. And I don't have a lot of high quality. I mean, it's not bad quality, but it's not like
try to stay mid quality,
keep prices low. Here's some moonstone that's we tumbled. My stepdad actually tumbled. He got into it. So I gave him my little tumbler when I bought my big tumbler. So he's been going to town tumbling things.
No, I used to have a casing tumbler for bullet shells, or for bullet casings.
Oh yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I got frustrated as hell because I would tumble with the course, and then it was a 3-step process, and then I get down to the very end with that the fine grained sand, and I just didn't have the patience. I wasn't seeing what I saw, like going to the Natural History Museum. I know they buy in bulk, and they have like 15 or 20 here. Buy one of these stones for 3 for $1 kind of deal.
Right.
And then that's when I don't know if that pushed my affinity towards going with raw, because I studied on how to polish stuff, but I'd just be more happy to be able to clean it up.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are special tips and tricks that you use for cleaning. So say if there's somebody out there who gets a piece of quartz, straight from the mines in Arkansas.
That looks like this.
Yeah. How do you clean it?
Well, if you want to clean it, some people like it ugly like this. We have a big chunk of it.
I think that one's pretty cool.
I mean, this one right here is one that we just didn't want to clean because it's just cool the way it is.
Sometimes you like how it comes, but CLR I'll do.
CLR, I usually start as chemical free as possible. So I will do Dawn dish soap and a scrub brush. If that doesn't work, I have what's that stuff I got in there? Iron out. We'll take iron off. And the red stuff is iron. And then
the reddish orange stuff is usually sedimentary iron.
Trying to find. I know I have some in here that is covered in the calcium that you would need the CLR to get off. This is just a hodgepodge of stuff I got. And I got to go through and.
Well, you guys picked up a whole bucket of them.
Oh yeah, there's a bucket. There's a crate. There's another crate. This is some of the stuff that I've gone through. These are little clusters and things that need to be cleaned. And
well, I know. I was kind of jealous, and once again, this falls back to the man-made, but to that copper infused brick and the slag glass that you guys pulled up. So it's not just about minerals; it's about I like to think of your streams of how the earth interacts with humans.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of neat stuff that you bring up that other dealers don't have, or need I say don't have the chutzpah to bother to try and sell, because they're like, oh, since it's not all natural, nobody's going to like it. Well, I think that's BS. I mean, stuff like Fordite is beautiful.
Yeah, Fordite's awesome.
Oh yeah, Fordite's.
Do you know where your Fordite is?
Go grab my big piece.
He's got a huge piece of Fordite.
I sold my little polished one, but I got a chunk.
But this is slag glass,
and myself to cut for some reason.
Slag glass from the Kalamazoo area, and it's from 1847 to 1851, and that's when that particular foundry was going.
Yeah, but you sold all of it already.
Oh, I got more.
Yeah, here's my collector piece.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to hook up with you then later.
All right. Yes, I sold a bag of it.
It's not a colorful Fordite. It's not from the Corvette factory or nothing, and it's not showing well.
It's not. You gotta hold still. Put your hand behind.
I'm trying to balance my hand, but my hands are shaking.
My phone likes to try to.
You got to put it in your palm. Remember, that's the only time it focuses.
There it goes.
That's awesome.
I love Fordite, and I love the old Fordite. I like the colorful stuff too, but the colorful stuff is great.
People that can work with that Fordite, they're pretty amazing on there. You should find some of those guys to be on your show, because it's layers. It's layers upon layers upon layers, and to be able to work it to get those different design patterns out of it without destroying it. Well, here's another one that's I think this is just in Michigan, the specular hematite.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This one I'm going to break up into little pieces.
Don't we have a whole day? We got to break up for the
Yeah, for the rock club, but I'm going to put these in the dig kits, the Michigan dig kits.
Well, I'll take a piece of that to put into my medicine bag. I've got fuchsite, which now does that leave sparkles on you?
Yeah, yes, it does.
Very much so.
So it's kind of like fuchsite.
Kinda, but it's hematite, it's a metallic mineral.
Yeah, that's amazing that you can have completely different minerals sharing properties.
I got another. I'm trying to find it. I got another kind of slag glass. I might have put it out on the chair.
Now, I do have to ask. Now, this is in your humble opinion. What do you think is the most overrated stone?
Quartz. Quartz. The
fucking everywhere. I don't
quartz, and it's not even just quartz. It's
we have shelves of it, like shelves and shelves of it.
The aura quartz, where they just fume some quartz with gold and call it something special and charge you $10 for a tiny little point.
Oh, yeah, do the titanium blast on it.
Yeah, where it's just silly. I mean, it's cool that they can do that, but
I honestly have to say diamond.
Diamond is too, definitely.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this much: we don't own a diamond.
No. Well, I've been trying to find a rough diamond because I want a rough diamond because they're cool, just so I have one. But this is just a pot of slag glass too that it's green and purple.
And that's all Michigan.
And this is all rough right out of the lake.
Yeah.
But this is from Christmas, Michigan, from a different foundry, so it's a different color. Really?
Yeah. Now you're talking to somebody who has samples of bolerite. Do you know what bolerite is?
I don't.
I've never heard of bolerite.
Okay. For those in the audience too, bolerite is essentially pieces. Back in the 70s, they used to use a specific compound to make those bowling balls that you guys use for the midnight bowls.
Oh,
you know, the ones for the black and white, or excuse me, for the black light.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's and then when the bowling balls shatter, people just threw them away, but then people started collecting them. So I've got a couple of pieces of actual bolerite from the late 60s, early 70s. And yeah, it does glow.
What do they have?
Nice.
Uranium in them or something?
I don't know what the mixture was on it, but I was just so fascinated with the fact that they were like, this is bolerite. It's fake. It comes from broken bowling balls. I'm like, I got to have a piece of that.
Yep.
See, this is one I found, and it's got garnet. You can see the garnet. It's not good garnet. I found it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
But it was a cool one, so I brought it home.
I spend when I was before the other set of mini strokes hit me, I used to do a lot of walking around, and the construction sites were using a lot of gravel that came from Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
And I found something that is metallic. It's a silverish, goldish chatoyancy. And
nice.
nobody could tell me actually what it was. But yeah, I mean, I used to spend a lot of my time looking down, especially when I hit construction sites with gravel. And
once you get that fever, it's hard not to look at the ground.
Yeah. I've got boxes of rocks from parking lots. I don't even know what to do with, but I don't want to get rid of them because there's something cool about them.
Yeah, and also
there's one of them right here but it's olivine, Michigan olivine. I mean, it's really cool. It's not like a spectacular specimen or anything, but I found it in the parking lot here. And
well, and that's also, I think, where the fear comes in too. If you do go into the steps to do polishing, are you going to ruin the aesthetic value of the piece?
Well, we had one that Kyle found actually that was just a very dark stone with epidote on the outside of it, so it's kind of dark in green. Yeah, and he recently cut that one up, and the inside was just beautiful.
But
the slabs are
very nervous every time I cut a rock.
Yeah.
Now, did he box it away, or can we see it?
Do you know where a piece of that is? Probably not.
Oh, God.
Is it in that box pile?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't it over here? I thought you had a cab polished of it. A tiny one. Very tiny cab, though.
And
And I don't know
That
if
was just a chip that came off, and I figured it might as well be a piece of
like the back chip that. Hold on, I gotta see if I can get
the
the.
Jessica, the big ones.
yeah, we're still a little blurry.
Oh, yeah, that's blurry.
There you go.
You can't see the green at all.
It's too shiny.
It's very green throughout there. Green with streaks of black.
It looks darker on the camera than it does.
Yeah, it's not showing right.
No, but it came out really pretty.
But that was a fun boulder. That, and there's another one that's probably a 5-pound boulder that I just
couldn't get out. Couldn't dig out.
Because we never had shovels, so.
That trip was ridiculous.
Nobody will notice it yet. I'll go dig it out from the park.
Now here's a good question from Victor Rand. Have you ever found any arrowheads or anything like that fashioned from stone, like flint objects?
I've only found one spear point in Michigan. When I lived in California for a few years, I found hide scrapers, arrowheads, all kinds of crap up on the mountains of California, up by Spider Rock. But here I've found the only thing I can think of is one spear point, which was a white stone, which I don't know if it was flint or what. It was a white stone, and I lost it when I was still a kid. So
I've never found anything like that.
Now, one of the things that unfortunately Ohio is rich in is flint, and every so often you'll find a little bit of pyrite, but mostly in sun discs.
Oh yeah, that mine that closed down. That we tend to hold on to sun discs when we find them now because there ain't no more coming out of there.
Yeah, and fossils. So those are the three big things. That being said, we used to go camp at a place called Cave Lake, and you could literally canoe into the caves. So we'd canoe into the caves and go looking around. And I actually, up until I thought I had a girlfriend in like 4th grade, I had an arrowhead that I found. And I thought it would be the coolest thing in the world to give it to her.
That's mirrors too, huh?
Quit giving things to girls.
Hey, I tell you what, it's not as bad as the girl who walked away with my Dead Kennedys t-shirt. I'll tell you that much right now.
No, I got an Apache tear from one girl, and I gave her a clump of gold where I melted down. It was damn near an ounce of gold, and it melted through the cast iron pan and hit the
That was hilarious.
I was a kid, and I was trying to make my bottom grill, and I melted it through, and so it was just a hunk of gold and cast iron and sand, and I gave it to her in trade for an Apache tear. Stupid girls.
Okay, so I am curious. Is that a picture, Jasper?
This is tiger iron.
Okay, I can see the chatoyancy now.
This is actually for crying out loud, now my brain quit working. Asbestos.
Oh, so there you go.
Asbestos replaced. It's been replaced, but that's why it has those
striations.
Yeah, I guess striation. But the way it's asbestos. Very cool mineral.
Yeah,
tiger's eye is the same. It's the same thing. It's asbestos that's been replaced by whatever quartz.
Now, for me, the thing that fascinates me that gets me to collect, I love things that have chatoyancy, like tiger iron and tiger's eye. What draws you in as a personal collector?
Shapes. I like geometry.
I like geometry. That's why I like the metals. I like the coloring. Like, well, I like the blues and greens. So
blues and greens,
the little crystals of.
I'm all about shapes.
Like here's one that I think is really cool.
Nature shouldn't be able to make
quartz.
Most people can't.
This one's got a lot going on. So it's got quartz, and this is malachite on top of galena cubes. And over here you've got some feldspar, which is your moonstones and labradorites and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you this too, Doc.
Interesting.
You're a good interviewer because I didn't know how accurate it would be, but I'm actually comfortable just having a chat with you.
And well, you saw the raw malachite.
Well, no, I mean, I will, and my chat will back me up on this, is that the only interviews that I ever have are with interesting people that do interesting things. So my job's not really that tough.
Let's see, yeah, just the way the forms, you know, it's really cool. And then when it breaks, you see those little patterns in there. And these are awesome when you cut them. These are ones we bought to slab up too, by the way. We just haven't done it yet.
And that's botryoidal, which means it bubble up.
We can go up and see my personal collection. There's way cooler stuff up there. All right, let me see what there is.
I think, yeah, I think.
Screaming baby giveaway. They're murdering each other up here.
Wait a minute. You can't throw out words like that without definitions, but I assume it's stripy.
Stripy.
Victor, I don't know what you're talking about on that, but usually, you know, the stripes always come from layering or from infiltration from water, and then it crystallizes up, and then that's how you get your striping.
Try to get this plugged in here. There we go. So these are my personal. For whatever reason, I kept these.
No, it's Victor. It's tiger eye or tiger iron.
Yep.
They are two different things. Normally, tiger iron is a whole lot deeper with a whole lot more hematite, so it's usually a blue, rarely sometimes a purple. The tiger eye mixes in with normally naturally found chemicals, and you know that's what makes it so bright and shiny.
Oh, you got to show off the cabin site.
So this is Russian azurite. This is azurite from Russia, obviously. So.
Wow, look at that blue.
Isn't that pretty? This one. Where's my?
Cabin site, though. Cabin site's one of my other pretties that I got a couple pieces of because I just can't get enough of it.
So this doesn't look like a lot, but this is an azurite crystal. It's very big. Normally, azurite crystals are pretty small. You can see it's got a little chunk of malachite on the side. I don't know if I can. Maybe I don't know if it's gonna. You're not gonna be able to see it that way. Some things you got to see in person.
Can you do a light underneath it?
I don't have a light on. Oh, let me see. The only light I have is on my phone. It might not be see-through, I guess. But and then I just got some different. You know, there's a cabin. This is one of those. This is from the mine that closed down. This is cabin site.
That really blue one to your right looks like K2.
This one, yeah, this is cabin site though.
Yeah, that's one of my personal favorites. I've had to go.
And these come out of India. You used to get them with zeolites when you ordered flats of zeolites, but I don't think they come with them anymore.
No, they're
so.
And that's. And I think that's the amazing thing, because every color in the spectrum, if you're looking for a specific color, you are sure going to find it within the earth.
So this is malachite and azurite from Morocco, and it's very sparkly and pretty. And
my wife hates malachite. That's why I have a fake sphere of it.
Leona cannot get enough malachite. I don't know why, but
well, this is one of my favorite.
I prefer to fill a whole case of just malachite and azurite, and I don't get it
because it reminds me of like a little earthscape. There's quartz and epidote is what it is, but they're just different sizes and shapes of crystals all on one piece. So it just looks like a little.
Yeah, I remember when you were first starting off, I actually bought a piece that was a mix of malachite and azurite. Beautiful green and blue veins.
Yeah.
Now let me ask this: what do you feel is the most underrated crystal, rock, or mineral? Something you think that really should have more value than it actually does on the market?
Ah.
Tell you mine on yours, I'm sure.
What?
But you know mine.
Pyrite.
Yes.
Kyle
so
says pyrite.
Formations and stuff. That's I'm just in the middle, and I figured I'd pick one.
I'd say fluorite. But fluorite's pretty out there though. It's not, I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of fluorites. I have. You got one of my pieces of Rogerly fluorite.
Yes, you were kind enough to sell me one of those, and it is in my actual personal medical bag, or medicine bag. I do have two different medicine bags. I have one because of the strokes. I have trouble with memory, so I have a real big medicine bag that has about 30 different stones in it. And when I feel like my brain's kind of slipping, I'll pull out that bag and I'll go through it, and I have to name every single stone that's in it, and that helps to refresh and strengthen my memory.
Funny, that's actually been my memory practice because I feel like mine is slipping. Leona calls it alcohol-induced dementia. I forget Alzheimer's, but this is actually how I'm trying to keep my memory sharp, is trying to remember the names of all these damn rocks. And it's a good practice for me, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, I have 100 spheres sitting on my desk in front of me that when I get back to writing, I use them as inspiration, because I can take a look at a specific color and then I can describe that in what I'm writing. But I can literally name you every single one. There's over 100 here. I can name you every single one of them. And that's because I do the practice. I go through and I keep my memory. Although sometimes I do confuse astrophyllite with avartsanite.
I've probably got 100 I can remember, but then there on the other side of that, there's the other 900 I can't. So
right,
because when quartz comes from 20 different places, it's just tough. But,
well, yeah, but you got to build yourself.
Yeah.
Now, is that a mix of regular and smoky?
This one actually is a natural green quartz, natural chlorite included quartz. This is a man-made version.
I've got one green piece, but since it came from China, I'm not trusting it.
Well, this is natural. This is the man-made version.
Two fake ones too that are green.
Well, no, the one I have looks like it's literally completely covered with green.
No, the covered with green means that they secondary lab grew it on there, I think.
Yeah, I think it was one of those spray paint and bake jobs.
No. So this one right here is a lab made jobber, and it looks cool, but it's not. I mean, and the natural one's not as vibrant in color, but it's way prettier, I think.
Wow, Victor has a great question. Is the difference between these and regular rocks simply purity of material, as in basic rocks are just compromised to mostly homogeneously combining different compounds?
Technically, yes. These are crystals. A rock has several different elements. That's true.
No, technically,
where is this a difference?
Correct. It's just that
this is a rock.
Elements there to be combined, and it's just
that's a rock. This is a crystal.
Specific to be right.
Right. But at the same time, I don't know if you would consider something like that a rock, since it is technically crystals, but they're included with different things. So.
They're all rocks.
Well, and of course there are basic. I think it's 6 basic crystalline structures.
I'm getting crazy. They're all rocks. A mineral is pure, the pure mineral. So if you have a pure mineral, quartz is a pure mineral if it's pure quartz. Bismuth is a pure mineral.
Well,
I'm surprised he doesn't have bismuth in there.
Huh?
I'm surprised that Kyle does not have bismuth.
I had a piece.
I got rid of it because it was just too lab grown for me.
Too lab grown.
Yeah. Because I'll be honest with you, I have not seen very many pieces that haven't been lab grown. which leads me into the next question. Is there an issue? Is there a problem or a concern with people like yourself who deal in gems, rocks, and minerals that you're getting lab stuff that doesn't carry as much respect or weight as something that's basically caught out in the wild?
Well, bismuth in its raw natural form looks pretty much like pyrite. It comes in a cube, or it's a metallic mineral. It's not, and it may occur naturally in those shelving patterns, but it has to be melted and then cooled. So if that ever happens naturally, it will do that same thing. But all you do is you take that raw bismuth, you can heat it in a pan. You can do it at home. Heat it in a pan, and as it cools, it forms those crystals after it's melted. So probably does happen in nature, just it would be rare.
But do you feel that the creation of lab minerals and crystals is detrimentally affecting your business?
It just depends on purists. There's always purists in anything you do.
Probably. I mean, I was a little butthurt at the rock club when my green quartz lost to the fake green quartz. Because like I said,
beautiful.
This is a natural specimen of chlorite included quartz.
Now,
and yeah, it's vibrant.
Do you have any strawberry quartz?
I don't. What do they call strawberry quartz? Because it's probably just some other named quartz.
It's also specular quartz because it's got the little red specks in it, and that's where they get the name strawberry quartz from.
I might somewhere. I just don't know what it is.
And they actually do have a tendency to have a lot of phantoms in them.
I got a hematite quartz.
I have a hematoid sphere, but that's a little bit different.
I don't know if we have any strawberry quartz.
I don't know if we do. I was going to buy some. I think, and maybe I just didn't. This one's cool.
Well, I should, and don't listen to this, chat. I should hook you up with some of my extras because I know I have another piece of strawberry, and strawberry quartz is just awesome just to have in the case to say that I have it.
Well, we might have something you want to make a trade for because we've got a lot of stuff.
This one's amplifier included quartz. So that one's neat, I think. I have some that are pretty neat. I have a rutilated one that's got the golden tile.
Yeah, see, the only issues that I've ever had with the vibratory nature of gems and minerals is with smoky quartz and rutilated for some reason.
Well, the citrine just kind of seems like it's big to me. All the citrine and really just okay with this.
Yeah,
that's beautiful though. The light was picking that rutilated up.
Yeah, this is the citrine that's heated amethyst right here. It's just heated amethyst, and I do have natural citrine. Where is it?
Well, because heated will make it darker usually too.
Oh yeah, it looks prettier. It looks like a pristine example.
Where the heck? Oh, there it is.
Too good to be true. Typically, it is.
This is actually natural citrine, and you probably really can't tell the difference because it's such a light. It's very light yellow.
Yeah, it's more of a lemony nature
compared to a regular quartz point. You can see how bright clear that is, and this is more. And natural citrine is actually fairly uncommon. So, and another fun fact: rose quartz you will never find.
By the way, can I stop you for just a minute? 30 does not mean the price of it. I'm going to guess 30 means you've got them written down somewhere just in case you forget what it is.
Yes, I have it. Everything cataloged. Well, it used to be, not anymore. Everything's kind of.
I wish I would have started that. I've got stuff sitting here I'm like, this is pretty, but I don't know what the hell it is.
Right. So this is a kind of interesting one. This is a double terminated piece of rose quartz. And it's not very good. You can see this one. That's an extremely rare. You'll never see a natural cluster of rose quartz like this. It'll never form like that. Very rarely. And it's usually just polished up. Yeah.
And I bought my nice piece of tricolor from you as well.
Oh, yep. I got one left. And I got.
Oh God! I finally got her to get rid of. She wanted to keep
they
like
were mine.
a whole shelf of just tricolor for some reason. She was really into this.
Yeah, but tricolor is pretty awesome.
It is pretty cool. Well, and there's 3 pieces, I guess, of it that I would had to keep too. But
this is vanadinite, and that's really pretty. Nice dark red little crystals.
Yeah, the only one I have has really, really, really small matrix on it. They're really itty bitty crystals.
Yeah, that one of the ones we got working. This is a cool creedite.
Speaking of small, did you show this small cavensite?
Okay, now I do want to know if you could go anywhere to mine, where would you go and what would you mine?
Oh man, I don't know.
You had a plane ticket there and back everywhere.
But I don't even know. There's just a lot there.
Mexico, I think. Mexico has a lot of nice minerals. That's where we get that fluorite, you know. I mean, the fluorite. Pakistan too, though. You're right. Trying to think.
I was going to say there's in Mexico. There's a lot of great feldspar too.
Oh, this is some nice blue fluorite that came from. This is from New Mexico. Is it gonna? From Bingham, New Mexico. Some nice blue fluorite.
Oh, that's pretty.
And see, I bought 2 of these, and I haven't been able to give any of them up yet.
Victor's asking in the chat, how do vibratory problems manifest, and what exactly are they? I can speak personally for myself. The 2 that I mentioned with the rutilated and the smoky
laboratory,
it just makes me feel unsettled, like it's vibrating at a different pitch, kind of like when you hear a ringing in your ears and it kind of gives you a little bit of a bodily imbalance. That's how the vibratory problems affect me, and it's only been with those 2 kinds.
Oh, okay.
Is that big ass quartz that we showed earlier that I paid like $400 for? It's the only rock I've bought that made me uncomfortable. I pulled it out of the box and it cut my brother in the finger right off the bat. Then it cut me twice. And that was all in the first minute of being out of the box after it took 2 months to get there. And I've just never got a good feeling from that rock. It's always been just not the energy that connects with me.
Well, and Victor, this is coming from people who are not metaphysical. I don't believe that if I'm holding a certain stone that it's going to provide me luck. Although from my family, I do have Native Americans in my background, and a lot of times they always talk about how you need to wear turquoise because of the fact if you take a great fall or a tumble, it'll save you from breaking bones. So, I mean, I've been around a lot of that lore. I don't necessarily believe it. I'm more in the aesthetic pleasing value of, oh man, this looks cool. I want this.
Right.
That's more what I go for. I just look for.
Well, I did have one rock that messed with me, and it was actually that over the weekend I was at a rocking. Well, I was through the rock club tailgate, and it was uranium though. And I started feeling funny standing there, and I looked down, and I was standing next to uranium, and it was actually radioactive. He brought out his Geiger counter and everything, and
oh yeah,
it was a lot of radiation, but it was the same feeling I get when I have X-rays.
And honestly, I'm not going into American Gadfly's territory on this when I say the Overlook Hotel is actually built on a huge quartz deposit. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people see ghosts there, because quartz absorbs the energy. I don't believe in ghosts and spirits for the most part, but I do believe that if somebody has a particular vibration, that a stone can actually absorb it. So it's kind of like a shitty playback, like on an old UHF channel.
Possibly.
And it's funny, we used
Or
to
carbon
live
monoxide.
on a gypsum mine over there in Wyoming, Michigan. We lived right over the gypsum mine. There were sinkholes all the time in the yard.
Oh, yeah.
And it's supposed to be cleansing, soothing, and whatnot.
This is that one I was talking about, the $100 cluster that was being held by a 2-year-old. And it's a cool looking cluster.
I was going to say that almost looked like dog tooth for a minute.
No, it's a very fine little needle quartz. And was it pyrite and tetrahedrite and quartz? I believe that's what this one was.
One of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, and it was $100 for this tiny thing, but you know, when they showed it, it looked like it was cabinet size.
They had the little Japanese hands.
Yeah, one of my favorite specimens is something I haven't run into a lot. It's a black druzy quartz.
Oh, is that these? Remember those little piece of petrified wood you sent me, or it was the druzy quartz on the wood?
Oh no, that was something completely different, because apparently there's a big mine that has a lot of the black druzy quartz. The enchanted forest petrified wood that I sent. Yeah, that stuff is just gorgeous. I literally bought way too much of it. I bought as much as I could because I knew that it was never going to happen anyplace else.
This is an interesting one too. What was it? This is wolfenite, right? Or is it barite?
I don't know. Wolfenite does glow.
I don't know. I don't think this glows.
I think this one's this is one, I think it's wolfenite, but it's one I've been unsure of. It's very flat blades.
Cool looking though, whatever.
In different shapes, all of them, but
one we could never determine. One somebody forgot what it was as soon as they bought it.
Yeah.
Here. That's a cool little example of a Lake Superior agate. It's got eyes in it. Call it eye agate.
So now I am incredibly curious because, like you said, I was there for the first show, but and I'm definitely looking forward to you guys having additional success. What have you got lined up? What's your plan of attack? Because, like I said at the beginning, there are a lot of people out there who have dealer's license and sell and fail every day. What's going to make you successful in your mind?
I don't know, but I think it's being honest with people and not trying to rip people out. Keeping it personal. I mean, I don't have a ton of customers. I've had a bunch of them over the past year, but I do have
10 or 15 regulars,
10 or 15 loyal people that are at almost every show.
Coming back if we didn't
Yep.
do it right, I guess.
Well, and honestly, you're only one of 2 shows that I actually recommend when I'm on Facebook. You're only one of 2 that I actually share every single time when you're on. And you know, I love the shows. I think they're very spontaneous. I think they're also down to earth.
The last one was crazy. I only had 3 hours to spend. Yeah, that was a little insane. But no, I mean, we've been doing it actually in October. It'll be a year that we've been doing the sales, and we're doing like a super grand prize giveaway. We started doing that, building up to, and I'm gonna,
Well, last week's grand prize giveaway was Anthony's $300.
Yeah, last
painting.
week's grand prize giveaway was a $300 Minions painting that a friend of ours painted,
which was beautiful, by the way. Yes. But no, the super.
Some of his artwork.
Sometimes I feel like we give away damn near as much as we sell, and it kind of puts us back at even. But what do you do?
We're paying the bill. Someday we'll get that hole in the roof.
Yeah, we're putting their name out there. Oh yeah, you can see the hole behind your head too. That's fine. Yeah, that's a hole in the roof. So support us, guys.
Yeah. Buy a rock. Fix the hole in the roof.
Well, and here's the thing that is the through line that runs through everything, every single interview that I've ever had. And it's a little acronym. It's a little saying that I say, flex your pec. And you can tell that the people that I interview, PEC stands for passion, effort, and commitment, which means you have to love what you do, but you do have to roll up the sleeves and get a little dirty to do what you want to do. And
been 100% invested throughout the past year. Everything we got goes into this.
We started by just buying a few things in bulk and just selling it. And
I think we've had 15 grand in sales. It all went back into rocks.
Biggest investment we put in was when in the beginning we borrowed $1,000 from a friend, and that just grew. But pretty much every dime we get in goes back into more rocks, growing up the inventory. I mean, we do pay a few bills out of it, but most of it goes right back into rocks.
Well, definitively, you have passion, you have effort, you have commitment. And that's one of the big reasons why I want to make sure and see that that you guys have the ability to succeed. You've got the skills to do it, no doubt.
Well, I definitely appreciate the vote of confidence.
Yeah,
well,
we've definitely grown.
I mean, we still both work other jobs, but we're banking on hoping it goes somewhere.
We've definitely grown, and we do have a customer base, both local and online, because I do have a lot of people who pick up for me. Today I just had a gentleman that brought me some stones he wants tumbled, and I mean, we're doing it. It's getting there. I finally have a Google page.
Well, and you know, like I said, if you know, if you guys get into the sphere realm, I have a piece of leverite that I got from my grandmother's garden.
Oh, nice.
That I'd like turned.
That is one of my goals, is to get a sphere machine.
Really not that for a machine.
It's not, but it is a big investment into a machine.
But yeah, we've cheaped out on machines so far and found great deals. Not really cheaped out. We got
good deals. I figure one will come along someday when it's meant to be.
Well, and I know there's a few people left listening, so let me go right back into it. Down in the description, you will find where to get a hold of Leona and Kyle. Their official site's there, the Facebook's there, and of course they do have a business Facebook as well. You can find them anywhere. Even if you have any questions about stuff that wasn't in their private case, something that you'd like to check out, or maybe even purchase down the line.
Get to sell it one way or another.
Yeah. And this is,
and there's still boxes and boxes to be unloaded. We had 5 cases and we're trying to move into 1.
And this is the side of, I want to make sure that we're crossing boundaries on this, because this is a side of the internet a lot of people don't see because they're either bogged down with YouTube or Discord, and all this commerce is going on. Even though, like I said, Facebook is a dying platform, the commerce section of Facebook is not dying. No. And it's burgeoning. There's a lot of great things that you can pick up there. And if nothing else, I started watching rock shows just to get an education. A friend of mine turned me on to it, and you know, the first show, I just saw something that I had to have. I mean, there's such beauty hidden within the Earth's core or within the Earth's crust that you have no idea what's going on. Sure, you'll see the regular stuff, like, you know, you'll see amethyst all over the place because it's still pretty hip and trendy. But of course, you'll see quartz all over the place. But it's those weird things that become really amazing, to where you're racking your brain going, well, how the hell did that come about? Like, you know, star rose quartz.
Yep. I hope I find some good ones of that. It's really pretty.
Ghost phantom quartz. Flugerbarite, which you can only find in Germany. That's why it has such a stupid name. But
I was just gonna say, I'm
What-
not
what-
sure I'm even familiar with that one actually.
What is that one? It's I think it's only found in Russia, and it only happens when a peregrine falcon poops on a certain spot in a volcanic crack or something. And
I don't know, but now I'm interested in finding out.
look it up. Look it up. The bird poop mineral, because it's like a new mineral they found, and it's really rare.
Okay, I'm gonna use my Googling skills right now as we speak. I'm going to type in bird poop mineral.
And a fact about amethyst: at one point in time, amethyst was really rare, extremely rare, worth more than diamonds, until they found that thing in Brazil.
Oh yeah, Brazil
Yeah.
pumps it out like crazy.
Okay, it's just giving me guano.
Maybe Russian mineral from bird poop, from falcon poop, maybe. I don't know. I'll see if I can find it later and send you a link.
Okay, because that would be pretty interesting.
It was interesting. I thought it was funny.
Rare carbon crystals, an undiscovered carbon mineral, was announced in December. Okay, this is coming from scienceforstudents.org. So let's see. More than 140 unknown carbon-based minerals are likely awaiting discovery as well. What are they calling it?
Can I have a cheeseburger?
Yeah, you can have a cheeseburger after.
Tenunculite.
Anunculite.
It's called tenunculite.
Canunculite.
Tinunculite.
And that's from bird poop?
It comes from the European kestrel Falco tenunculus.
That's my muscle.
Bird poop.
Yeah.
Nice muscles.
They're showing a picture of the bird, but they're not showing a picture of the actual mineral.
And I've never seen it. I have no idea what she's talking about either, just like the rest of you guys.
What a tease. I hate when people do that. Let's see. Scientists and amateur collectors search the ends of the earth for new minerals. Here, geochemist Daniel Hummer looks through the aluminum-rich waters at a site in northern Pennsylvania. Well, that doesn't help. Why are you posting a picture like that in this article?
Show me the damn rock.
Wild goose chase.
Yeah, I'm looking for the bird poop rock. Come on. All right, well, I'm going to look it up here, and if I actually find some pictures of it, everybody in my chat has a wrench, so anybody can actually look it up if they want to.
AOL.
Okay, there it is. Here, guys, if you're interested, this is the Wikipedia article about our pal now, tenunculite.
Tenunculite.
And I am pronouncing it right. So there it is. If you're interested, that's tenunculite. And well, you know what? The images are a lot more interesting, but I mean, it does kind of look like how you get those star clusters.
Yeah.
But they're showing it in different colors too. So I think they're on crack. Because half of these don't look the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, you know, give nature lemons, and you know, they make lemonade out of it.
Well, they just found a new mineral here in Michigan too, on the beach, that glows. What is it called? In the UP.
Yeah, buddy, I can't remember my friends' names, even if I hung out for a year. So good luck with minerals.
I know, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we're past the 2-hour mark. I do want to make sure, though.
Oh, I'm trying to give up on it. I'm just saying I don't ever remember names on anything.
Well, I do want to make sure, if you've got any people out there that are not only aspiring for the business themselves, but just to become an actual collector, what type of advice would you give somebody who's just starting out?
If it's pretty, get it.
Yep. If you like it, get it. And
Yeah,
learn
if
about it.
it speaks to you, that's all it takes. I only buy things that speak to me.
And definitely
I don't
price
care
shop.
what it is. If it looks for me, then we connect. Then it's gonna be mine, one way or another.
Definitely price shop. I do. One thing I did notice that a lot of people that are selling online, a lot of the people that started around the same time I was aren't there anymore. There's a lot of new ones starting up.
It's a big business right now. There's a lot of people starting up.
I'm not sure what really makes or breaks you. I think it's just.
I don't know. We've kind of just floated at the very bare minimum.
We just get on there and do what we do, and people must like it. Maybe we're.
Well, and I'll be honest with you. Some of the people that I first ran into, I found out who they were buying them from.
And it seems silly.
Huh?
No.
And then it seems silly sometimes.
Well, I found out who they were buying them from, and then I'd go back and watch one of their streams, and all of a sudden the price is like 10 times more than what I knew they actually paid for it.
That seems to be a commonplace in the whole rock and mineral industry, or whatever you want to call it. This game that's going on is, yes, a lot of people think that they're going to be able to
jack the price up.
Yeah, make 10 times their money, and that's not the way to go about it. It's about spreading the minerals out, finding their homes.
But a lot of people,
and you can make a profit enough to make it worth sending it and stuff, but you try to make 10 times your money, and that's where people go wrong. And that's the It's not that I don't believe in metaphysical It's not that I don't believe that rocks have healing properties. It's that I don't believe in jacking rocks up 10 times because you can say that it's going to heal whatever chakra.
Yeah. And a lot of times you got to watch out because they'll take a common stone and give it a fancy name and tell you it heals your eyeballs and sell it to you for 10 times more than it's worth. Rose quartz is one of those.
And there's another great example. If you're like some of the Chinese distributors that I dealt with, they would call everything jade.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of jades out there.
And jade, in a loose translation for the Chinese, just means pretty stone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's green. It's jade, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Turquoise also, there's a lot of not turquoise being called turquoise.
Oh, 90% of it on the market is howlite.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got boxes down howlite, and she hates it. But every time we go to sell it, I call it dyed howlite, and
that's what it is. Well,
we
I don't
sell
try
it for
to tell
50
people
cents
it's real.
a big old stone
Imitation
instead
turquoise.
of whatever the hell. I don't even want to imagine what a piece of real turquoise would cost, but
that depends on where it's from. But there's African turquoise that they're calling turquoise. It's not turquoise. There's no turquoise. I don't think there's any turquoise to be found in Africa, period.
Oh yeah, I have a couple of real nice pieces of turquoise from mined out mines that came from I believe it's Arizona.
Yep.
Yeah, Arizona had some.
Yeah, Arizona does.
Stuff.
I got a few pieces from there too.
And
in Nevada where you can still get it, but most of the turquoise coming out now has to be stabilized.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got the two real nice pieces that I want to make pendants out of. Both of them had to be stabilized.
Yeah.
That was you just couldn't get around it.
People don't know, as most jewelry made out of turquoise is stabilized because unstabilized turquoise just can't handle the wear and tear.
Yeah.
It just falls apart.
Yeah. I mean, it's like malachite. Like a lot of the malachite from Arizona, it comes out to be real weak and powdery, but you can stabilize just about anything and polish it. I'd actually like to do that with some of the malachite and azurite.
And technically, there's nothing really wrong with it. Back in the 20s, rock collectors used to shellac the rocks that they liked instead of doing polishing to it.
Shellac it. Shellac it all.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a different opinion on that. I'm not a fan of shellac.
Well, yeah, because after about 10 years, the shellac starts to haze over. And what you were trying to accomplish with shellacking it in the first place is totally screwed over.
Yep. Yep.
But so essentially what we're looking at is if somebody's getting into it, just basically, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yes,
Yep.
definitely.
Yep.
And if you like lab-grown pink crystals, to each their own. Some people love that.
Yeah, some people do, and they're
not
pretty.
Really been our part
they're pretty
of it.
crystals. Though. Some of those lab-grown ones are just amazing. But I mean, and it's grown. It's not. It's the same minerals, but they're grown a different way. Than whereas naturally they occurring naturally, they're a
It's
little
just
different.
more amazing to me when
Yeah.
nature sets forth all the perimeters to make it happen.
But like I said before, minerals are chemicals.
'Cause we
So
can all
you
be
can pretty much
scientists.
grow any mineral that if you have the right chemical.
Well,
Like the grow your own chemical kits or grow your own rock kits. I meant.
well, and yeah, but technically it's just the impatience of we humans. It's like, okay, we figured out how this works. We can do it faster.
Yeah. But too, I mean, some of those lab grown ones tend to be cheaper, and if you can't afford a natural specimen, you can go that way. And a lot of times with lower quality specimens also. Like I said, we started small with some pretty. I mean, I've replaced a lot of those, but I still have some of the lower quality specimens that I started with. And that's the way you do it. And eventually, when it got to be ridiculous, and I had 5 cases full of rocks, I thought maybe I should start selling these to buy more. So I started buying in bulk, and then I'd pick the pieces I want and sell the rest. As long as the piece I got was paid for, it didn't really matter how much money we made. So
I mean, like that piece of fluorite that I'm talking about, it's literally the size of a pencil eraser.
Yeah.
And that thing was like $8.
Yeah.
But it's the only thing that I've ever seen that's been both black and gold at the same time. The crystal structure depends on how you turn it and how the light hits it. It normally looks black, but when the light hits it, it goes gold.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean, just some really weird. There are too many fascinating things out there that the Earth provides itself.
Yeah.
So unplug from your damn video games, people.
Yeah, and you were right earlier when you said it is an addiction. You see the beauty of nature, and it's hard to
keep going.
God, it's a year ago, like I said, when my sister opened that rack shop, we thought she must be fucking crazy. Who the hell is going to sell crystals and rocks? Like, you're going to sell rocks? Are you kidding me? And within a month, we were their best customers, and all of a sudden, their rock shop is closed, and we were selling rocks online.
I think a lot of people, when you think about it, because a lot of people, I tell them that I sell rocks, and they look at me like I'm crazy. I think most people think rocks.
And we live in Muskegon, so they think crack or something.
In your flower bed.
We're slinging rock on the street here, bro.
I've done some shady rock deals in parking lots. I'm not gonna lie. I've sold some quartz out at the gas station.
We sell rock and crystal.
It's terrible.
But yeah, I think that's the beauty of the hobby because it comes from where you live.
Yep. But a lot of people don't realize that what does come out. I mean, you're not going to be walking down the street and find a beautiful crystal cluster sitting there unless, somebody dropped one. Those are you have to dig for them. You have to search for them. I mean, rare occasions you'll find, something poking out of the ground that's
on surface. Or we do our parking lot scours.
Yeah.
God, I love the scours.
I should send you a picture of my favorite quartz piece. It's literally it's a cluster of quartz grown over a plate of quartz. Literally the matrix formed, then came little crystals, then another matrix quickly formed over the top of it, and then on the top of that are quartz clusters, so it looks like there's a little crystalline sandwich underneath.
That sounds
I found a couple pieces kind of like that in that Arkansas quartz.
Yeah, this one's Arkansas.
Yep.
This,
Well,
this one definitely came from Arkansas.
I got
But,
a piece in there that has green tourmaline through it.
ooh, that's nice. But so right now we're looking. You're still doing the show Sunday somewhere between 7 to 9. So anybody who's listening, if they want to tune in, just hook up with Leona on Facebook.
Love to
And get notifications.
Yep,
We
yeah.
get-
Just send me some requests. Maybe we do a couple shows a week.
And we
Other than Sunday.
give prices about as cheap as you're gonna find anywhere selling online, and we also do a lot of giveaways.
We do a lot of
I think
giveaways.
we gave away probably twice of what we sold last
Yeah,
week.
we do it.
Sadly
We do a
enough.
bunch of giveaways, and then everyone who buys something, their name goes into the pot. We do a grand prize giveaway at the end of the show. And like I said, the last show we did, it was a painting of Minions. It's actually a really cool painting.
Well, I want to add to these paintings, and
Yeah.
that $300 would have been a cheap price on that painting
That was
because
insane.
I still want it.
Yeah.
We actually bought 4 of Anthony's
I did.
paintings
Ow.
during the show.
Let's see if I can. I'll show you one we got. I don't know if you can see them real well. 2 octopus paintings that he painted.
Those are nice.
Well, my kids love the sea creatures. Oh, he does a Star Wars one that's awesome. He does a lot of.
Really nice paintings.
Yeah.
And them were the cheaper. Them were like $30 a piece. So you can only imagine what the 300. Well, in some of his paintings he sells for thousands.
Yeah.
He's a very good artist. I respect the hell out of his art.
But we'll be selling his art too. I know some people don't like that, but
it is what it is.
Yeah. I envision at some point having a store, and I want a store that has local people stuff in it, art and things made from stone.
Jewelry, stone, yep.
Well, it's completely up to you where you want to go from here, but I think you have a decent foundation laid to where all the opportunities are definitely open. And that's what I respect about what you're doing. You do have the passion, the effort, the commitment to seeing this thing get done. And that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to have you on and share a talk.
I got one thing that might as well be it.
And I'm going to go ahead and do a quick wrap up here
because
we're like 2.5 hours in, and I am amazed there has not been a Screaming Child giveaway, and we're not going to curse that. So I will go ahead.
We can throw one in before we go if you want.
You want to do a giveaway?
I don't know how they would get a hold of you if they did. I tell you what.
We got the taste of the show.
I tell you what, let's go ahead and do this. For those people who have watched or those who are listening to on playback, let's go ahead and say this. There's going to be a giveaway done. Now, today is Tuesday. We're going to wait until we get to Friday. So if you don't hear this until Friday, go to the links that are below. Say, I listened to Doctor on Call, and I want to enter into the chat, or I want to enter into the giveaway, and that will happen on the Sunday. So the registry starts on whenever you hear this, up until the Friday before the show. So you got enough time to be able to enter, and hopefully you'll just watch the show, and you'll get into an entry there too.
Yep. And what should we give away?
I guess we're gonna have to figure that one out.
About I'll
cool.
find a nice Arkansas quartz
Something
piece.
cool.
That's what I'll do. Nice Arkansas quartz piece.
So and here's the thing: you guys won't know unless you go to Facebook and find out.
That's right.
So you're gonna have to check in, and of course, their show usually runs. Well, I tell you what, as long as you're friended to them on Facebook, you will be able to access any of their streams. Unlike, well, actually, it's a lot like YouTube. As long as you're subscribed, which is adding friends on Facebook, then you will be able to see them go live. And I know some of the pretties that were shown tonight are actually going to be available. So you should stop in and take a
We have
look.
a whole bunch more. I
We
just
have
scored.
so many boxes to unload.
I just scored some pink amethyst. You shut your mouth. I'm trying to talk. I scored some pink amethyst. It's a new find, apparently.
Really? I have not heard of pink amethyst. I'll have to tune in.
Well, as soon as it gets here, I will definitely have it out there.
And okay, I'll go ahead and do the spiel. Check down in the descriptions for all the links of everything that we've talked about that you've seen here this evening. If you're of the mind, please help me clear out my GoFundMe. We're almost there. We're only $300 away, and the doctor will have new equipment to where he can actually run stuff like Streamlabs and run video and all that other fun stuff. But please do make sure and patronize also the people below in my prescription for additional entertainment. A lot of good people here on this side of the YouTubes that don't have a lot of people listening to them, and I'm hoping we're going to change that.
We appreciate you for that, buddy.
Well, it's not a problem at all. Like I said, interesting people have the greatest of conversations. You have certainly been that. And I know you guys want to know this too. So coming up for the month of October, I'm not going to tell you everybody, but for the next show coming up, I do have two-time Eisner Award winner Mike Barron. That's a two-time Eisner Award winner for writing comic books. We do have classic B-movie director Jim Wynorski. He's the guy who created Chopping Mall back in the 80s. If you haven't seen it, go take a refresher for that. Definitely. He also did Deathstalker 2. He did the Munchie series, and he's been known for a lot of his straight-to-video TNA DVDs like The Witches of Brestwick and the Bear Wench Project. We'll have YouTube E-Celeb, The Killing Joke in on the 23rd. And for our Halloween show, we're going to be sitting down and having a very long conversation with the producer, co-writer, and director of the Friday the 13th franchise, Sean Cunningham. That ought to be a very interesting conversation, too. And please make sure and tune in with us. As far as it goes for the diagnosis, once again, I hate to say this, but I am befuddled because I do not see an issue here. I don't see a problem. I don't see an unhealthy addiction. So I will have to say that I'm going to have to give our guests this evening a clean bill of health. So I do thank you very much, Leona and Kyle, for coming out. Remember the name of the business is Earth Treasures.
And followers.
Thank you very much for stopping out, and the doctor's office is closed.
Thank you.